As we all know, the Predator franchise has had its ups and downs. Whereas the 1987 original remains one of the best survival horror films ever made, its satisfying and, depending on who you ask, superior sequel was the last high point of the franchise. Kinda like Alien, come to think of it. The franchise milked for all it had with not only one, but two Alien vs Predator films, 2010's Predators, with an interesting concept but failed execution, and what was supposed to be the saving grace with Shane Black returning in 2018's The Predator. Well, we all know how that went. The IP needed to either stay dead or be taken in a different direction. The latter was chosen, a prequel about the first predator to walk the earth. Supposedly conceptualized in 2016, the idea was fast-tracked, and we got Prey. Now, I had no expectations whatsoever for this film. I didn't watch any of the promotional material, I only knew the basic gist that it would be in the 1700s and follow a Comanche tribe having to survive the predator's first encounter with Earth. Upon doing research for this video, after watching the film of course, I found this line said by those behind the production. I'll just say it explained a little. Warning, mild spoilers ahead, let's jump right in. We follow Naru, a Comanche tribe member fed up with doing the usual tasks given to women like gathering supplies, building the houses, and mainly taking care of the village. She wants to prove herself as a warrior, finally getting the chance when the tribesmen, including her older brother Tabe, set out to find a lion that took a member of their party. After failing to take the beast down, she sets out by herself to hunt an animal and bring back to the village, being able to prove her worth, getting more than she bargained for as the predator stalks the forest. Plot-wise, everything is kept fairly simple. What you see is what you get. There are pleasing instances of setup and payoff, but the main issues with the narrative concern the characters. Being only a handful thereof, it probably should have been the most important thing to get right. There's basically no explanation as to why one tribeswoman, Naru, fights, and can be so precise with weapons, apart from maybe the viewer interpreting that she trains every day. If that's the case, the film fails to keep up that consistency. Our first time seeing her, she can ace every shot, but then has a hard time hitting a rabbit, a way of letting the audience know she can't hunt. So attaches a makeshift rope to her tomahawk and she's able to do this right after. If you want to show your audience the character isn't good at something, then at least show her failing one of these shots. If not, it makes no logical sense as to why just adding a rope will improve her accuracy. Not to mention the mastery of close-hand combat like an assassin in John Wick. The tribe itself isn't explored that much. We only meet Tabe and Naru's mother, a handful of incompetent, disposable, supposedly warriors, and see the ceremony they have when someone brings back big game. The premise wasn't fully explored as we never really get to see what the main tribe hunters are capable of, except for about two very short scenes. No tactics, no stalking the predator, no hatching a plan or trap to lure it that goes awry. The predator just jumps them and that's it. The magic orange Tutsia plant also raises some questions, but that'll be getting us too deep into spoilers. On the character side, we mostly have Naru, Tabe, these guys, a group of Frenchmen, the doggo, and of course the predator. First off, the doggo is a good boy, and his relationship with Naru is enjoyable to watch. The Frenchmen were an interesting lot, as they were trying to either kill or most likely capture the predator. It's a shame they weren't in the movie longer. The group could have added a bit more intensity to the hunt of the monster, seeing the differences in equipment and tactics with them and the Comanche, but just ended up being plot devices. These guys are supposed to be the main protectors of the tribe, I guess. Let me specify, a tribe of hunter-gatherers. But they are so incompetent at what they do. Every time there's a clue to something weird or them being stalked, they just brush it off as nothing, which gets progressively annoying as the runtime goes on, because if you are in this position, then they are supposed to know what they're doing, especially on the hunting aspect. Tabe, despite starting out as clueless as the others, is probably one of the best characters in the film. He's a calm, disciplined hunter that has the safety of his tribe in mind at all times, not only being a badass but has the credentials to back it up. I really do think the dynamic he and his sister had was one of the strongest aspects of the movie. Naru was a pretty mixed bag. She wants to prove she's a warrior because no one believes she can be. Yeah, her motivations are not clear at all, mostly due to the fact that there's no evidence throughout the film of the other characters saying that she can't be a warrior, and when someone says something to protect her, she gets very arrogant. For example, when hunting the lion in the beginning, she sneaks her way into the party, urging Tabe to let her join. The boys then ushered this at her.
Who invited you? We won't be gone long enough to need a cook.
Now, that's a normal thing to say to a woman of that tribe whose main role isn't to hunt but gather. If they take her to track a lion, it could most likely end up in human casualties from her lack of experience. Something told to her and shown to us before. She isn't ready to hunt. The main issue here is that Naru wants to be seen as a warrior, thinking the others don't want her to be one. The actual problem is, she just isn't ready to hunt. The message gets lost in translation and Naru ends up becoming irritating for not understanding this fact, constantly pushing the imaginary oppression button. As I also pointed out before, her skill set is inconsistent throughout the film, either being the absolute best or the worst, not to mention always the smartest in the room. Finally, the Predator himself. This movie was able to capture the primal nature of the creature, not to mention his design and weapons were something to marvel at. I especially thought the way he was set up was really awesome, seeing him walk around the forest looking for who the predators were, starting off by killing a snake, dueling a wolf, and watching it fight a bear was exactly the thing I would have asked for, lurking waiting for an apex predator to contend with. For Predator fans, this is a treat. The main issue I have is the way he can still tank bullets, suffer deep wounds, and remains an unstoppable machine. Sure, you can have a scene of him stitching up, but that just ends up acting as a callback to the original. In 1987, one deep gash and we heard him scream trying to heal up. I do think this film succeeded in being a Predator movie, although wasn't able to take it back to the survival horror genre, resulting in a generic feel. Most of the positive feedback I have is due to the action sequences and how raw all of it felt, never getting the sense it was gratuitous, but just the ferocity of how the Predator killed. The cinematography and general look of the film was great and very atmospheric, in part thanks to the beautiful sound design. Probably the second best aspect of the movie after the Predator itself. At least it tried being its own thing, but still couldn't escape some of the obvious nostalgia baiting.
Come on. Do it.
Something very familiar about all this.
Did I personally enjoy the movie? It was fine, an average film with flaws that could have been improved with maybe one more rewrite or just making it a solo 1v1 hunter and predator in the jungle without all the tribe drama. And Predator fans of course will most likely appreciate the movie because of the Predator itself. I'd recommend it for the action sequences and Predator scenes, but that's pretty much it. In the end, Prey was a frustrating watch because it had a really good movie in there somewhere, bogged down by the way they handled the main character's goals and an unrealistic portrayal of how skilled the Comanche are at hunting, leaving an unsatisfied taste, especially after seeing the final blow dealt to the Predator. If you want a good Predator movie, look no further than the original. Also, I've heard lots of people say it's the best Predator sequel, and all I have in response is, watch Predator 2. Thanks for watching everyone, hope you guys enjoyed the video, thank you again for sticking around this long, and let me know what you guys thought of the film in the comments. Till next time.